welcome to the UYG Show. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. Are you excited?
Definitely, yes, girl.
Definitely.
Today we are discussing fear. Oh my God, we've had so many queries about fear. But before we get into that, let us first of all introduce ourselves. I'm too excited. I even forgot to introduce myself. So my name is Gladness Katega.
My name is Egona Waritoma.
My name is Veritas, the inspirational guru.
Thank you so much for joining us. And as usual at the UYG Show, what we aim to do is take pressure and turn it into
Diamonds.
Yes. And today we are joined by somebody.
Yes, we are joined by the amazing Mr. Billy Pedro.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh, thank
So
you.
good to have you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So Billy Pedro is an expert in this subject of fear. He even has a book. Could you show us your book?
Oh yeah, of course. It's the Book of Fear.
Amazing.
It was this was launched last year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
2020.
Yes.
Amazing.
It was a time to actually
Congratulations.
come up with something like this and really, truly, just to make people feel better with what was going on last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really just a chance to read something that could sort of liberate you and make you feel better.
Because obviously when COVID first hit,
we had
everybody was
yeah,
in so
yeah,
much fear.
yeah.
That makes so
And
much
uncertainty
sense.
as well. So during a time where it looked like very uncertain, that's the perfect time. So that's
Definitely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Where can they
Awesome.
find the book?
Yeah.
Oh, everywhere. You could grab one of these on my website, billypedro.com. Amazon, they've got it. Most bookstores actually have got it.
Okay,
Amazing.
So you can grab that
amazing.
anyway.
Awesome.
Wow, well, I am so excited. I don't know about you, but I cannot
Yes.
wait to get started.
From one of our clients, and it specifically says here, what is wrong with me? I can't cope with anything. I'm constantly sad and unhappy. I feel uneasy about everything. I'm scared of where my life is heading. Yeah.
What do you think is going on there? Should we start straight with the expert?
Yes.
What do you think is happening here?
Pretty much like that's very human. That's what I can say. It's okay to feel anxious about things. It's okay to have fear in us. As you probably know already. We think that fear. We shouldn't have fear.
Yeah.
We naturally think the feeling of fear is it shows you're weak.
Yes.
It shows you're vulnerable. It shows that you are.
It's true.
That's this
That's
person
true.
that should be no one should pay attention to you. Or you should be undermined all the time.
Yes.
There was something you said earlier. So something about when you feel in a certain way, people tell you to get over it.
Yes. Instead of telling you to heal through it
the
first, they
feeling
tell you to get over it.
The feeling of fear is actually okay. It's very human to have fear.
Absolutely.
The important part of fear that people need to pay attention to is the reaction.
Okay. What do you mean?
and-
Yeah. What do
and
you mean?
responses to it.
I'd love to hear you
So,
expand on that.
For example, in this case, in this scenario,
Yeah.
someone says, "Well, they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what they're thinking, don't know what the future holds." What else did they say in that email?
They said, I can't cope with anything.
Can't cope with
I'm
anything.
constantly sad and unhappy.
unhappy.
I feel uneasy about everything.
Yeah,
I am scared of where my life is heading. That is deep.
That is
So it's like fear and anxiety
That's
in
pure
one.
anxiety.
Anxiety.
That's
Yes.
pure anxiety.
Yeah.
There is something called algophobia. Algophobia in this case, it will be the fear of anticipated pain.
Wow.
The fear of anticipated pain.
So,
Wow.
What does that mean?
so
interesting.
you could be in a position where you've anticipated failure, for example, or you've anticipated pain, or you've anticipated disappointment. And so, in a process of life, before you start something, you've already concluded that you're going to fail anyway.
Okay. So when you say anticipated,
Fear
it's
of failure?
worrying about it in
Yes,
advance.
you could say
fear of
Yeah,
failure.
which is a different. There's a different term for that. But again,
Okay.
it's all the same. So you already think that you're going to fail. You're not going to be accepted. You're going to be rejected. There is a part where in this case, it will be like, well, I don't know what the future holds. So I'm worrying about it now. Why worry about tomorrow when you're still in today?
Would you say it's something like the fear of the unknown?
That's also part of it.
Yes.
That's part of it.
It's also part of it. The different ways of looking at it. The fear of the unknown in most cases would be a case where a person is already concluded. And I did say earlier that the meaning of fear in this case will be visible experience of anticipated result.
Yes, I remember.
So
Yes.
you already have the sense that you're going to feel, or you've already concluded or anticipated what might happen in the end, and so your natural reaction is to block that, or or your natural reaction is literally against the result that you already anticipated.
Would you
And
say?
so you're not functioning positively. You're functioning negatively, naturally.
Wow.
But you don't know that you're actually doing that, because in actual fact, subconsciously you think you're progressing, but in the end you're working against your success.
Yeah. And I would say, would you say that's a form of self-sabotage?
Yes.
And the reason why I immediately took that self-sabotage is because there are, again, people who are like, you know what, the fear of failure and the fear of the unknown is so huge that they unconsciously or subconsciously end up sabotaging their self from the success, because already at the back of their mind, they've already made up their mind subconsciously that this isn't going to work out. I'm going to fail. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of women get scared of getting pregnant. I've seen a lot of women get scared of losing their body, a lot of the shape that you have from a young age.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, you're going to have a baby? Like, never. So why? I'm not losing this.
Right. Yes,
To
that
nothing.
is true.
You see
I've
a
heard
lot of women say
Yes.
that. You've seen people say, well, I've seen what my mum or my friend go through when they give birth. And so I can't bear that pain, so I'm not even going to try. A simple one, it will be the needle, like the syringe.
Okay, yes.
So, when you go to your doctors and they inject you, people anticipate the pain. So they
absolutely.
grab for that.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do that. I don't like inject. I've handled tattoo needles because it's on the surface.
Yes.
But needles that go
inside.
beyond the
Your
surface,
skin,
I turn into a total baby.
Yes.
When it's time to get the injection, I'm like, hey, I'm start trembling with them.
Yes.
I can't. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
And in actual fact, that's what it is. So you're already dead before dying. If that makes sense.
Yes.
You're already in pain. So you're in tears. You're literally not yourself in the process. In actual fact, by the time you don't go through it, you realise that that wasn't actually painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to even
Afterwards, like, it's not even that bad.
Yeah, exactly. So then how comes you would, if it happens again, like you were about to have taken an injection, you would still feel
that fear of...
This is what we call the culture of fear. So there are certain things that we, regardless of the amount of time that you do it, you're stuck with that feeling.
No matter what,
you're stuck with it. So if even if you went to your doctors 100 times, it's still going to be the same. Even if you if you give birth every year, you still feel that pain. Even if you're not feeling that pain, you have to go through the process of that culture. You need to scream to show people this is a process. Feel my pain for me, and it's like you're exaggerating, but you're not exaggerating because it's a culture. It's a way of doing things, and so even if you're not feeling that pain, you have to show people that you're actually going through that process of pain. So that's why people sort of feel that way. And in most cases, it's just expression of pain.
Wow.
That's very
goodness.
Wow.
Well, I would like to say at this point, if you are watching this show right now and you can relate to some of the things that we are discussing, please do feel free to get in touch with us. UYG Social Enterprise is here to help you, to support you. Our details are being shared on the screen, so do not go through these things alone. Please get in touch with us.
Hi. I don't know. All right. The Book of Fear. Often we've been told about fear being false evidence appearing real. Forget everything and run. Fear really means feasible experience of anticipated result. Every time you think in fear, you anticipate the result. And so, because of the anticipation of the result, your energy is naturally defensive. You perceive hazards. You perceive death, loneliness, powerlessness, victimization, vulnerability. disappointments, so much negativity around fear and its reactions. Focusing on the actual fear and not focusing on the reactions is helpful. So we're going to be putting our fears in context, not the reactions. The reactions can be worked on if we put the fears in context. That's what the book of fear is about. It's about putting things in context. Some of the words that we use to represent our fears or our needs at times already show vulnerability. You already think you're a victim. You already think you're not good enough. You already think that you're less than the other person. So the other person is the one that determines whether you can come up or you can't. And so your position is already vulnerable. So the words you're saying, how you qualify the things that you want, it already sounds as though you're begging for, or you're fighting for, or you're defending something. Fear is a tool. Fear is powerful. Fear is a powerful tool to use to achieve a lot of stuff in life. Instead of getting ourselves in a position where we're constantly reacting, if we look at situations, we're able to respond to situation and circumstances. Our anticipated result would actually change to a favourable one, not just for us, for the people around us. And that's basically what fear is about. Pick up a copy on my website, billypedro.com, or go on Amazon.
So I kind of want to ask, what is it then that gets somebody to that state? Is it things they experience in life? What is it? Where does fear come from?
I must also say that this is not to undermine people's pain, because there are people who actually every time they do it, they feel the pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because again, it's extraction and any kind of expansion, or what would you call it? Contraction.
Yes.
So all of them things, people feel that pain also, but in most cases, once you've gone through a certain kind of pain once, when you go back to it, you feel better. So you're not showing that level of anxiety or that level of pain that you show the first time. Second time, you're used to it. To answer your question, trauma, for example. Some people have gone through it and they've got a certain attention in the process. They've gotten a certain level of gifts, for example. And I'm not saying people do it. I'm saying if I cry today for something and you give it to me, I'm not gonna ask you tomorrow. I'm gonna cry again. Kids do that.
Oh, the spoiled kids.
Yes, they do that.
Kids.
So if they know that, well, this pain gives me attention, they will touch something that gives that pain, even whilst they're not in pain. They scream anyway, so they get what they need, which is the attention.
Yes.
That's a level of trauma. Again, people don't think that's a trauma because they think, oh, you're an attention seeker. No, it's not, because you're actually going through something which is psychological.
Yes.
But a lot of people think, oh, stop it. But in actual fact, you need to heal from that, understand what you're doing to your environment.
Heal from it first.
What we do as Africans is, if a child does it once, and the next time he does it, and then the next time they do the same thing again. The next thing you want to do is ignore them, and when you ignore them, you actually ignore what they go through, because in actual fact, sometimes they're actually feeling in a certain way, but because you're used to that kind of lifestyle, but because you've been through something with them, next time they're actually feeling that, you can't pay attention. You're not going to take it seriously, and so you lose out in most cases. When that's when you then regret. Oh, I wish I paid attention. You should have paid attention from the get go.
It's almost like the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah,
almost like that.
It is like that.
Yeah, it is like that.
Literally,
but crying wolf actually is a psychological issue.
Yes, exactly.
Because a person is going through it, then you have to help them understand that every time you do this, if you're actually not feeling it, we don't think it's right because you're actually being inconsiderate. So they need to be educated and let them understand that this behavior is unacceptable in this environment. And unless a person knows not to do it, they're going to carry on doing it until they die.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's one part of trauma, by the way. And then there's the part where actually the person remembers. It's a memory. It's a memory. It's also a memory thing. So every time something happens that relates to what they're going through,
Like triggers.
like a trigger, or what they've seen other people go through, they show the same expression that other people have shown. So sometimes it's not your pain.
Wow.
Sometimes it's not your trauma. It is other people's trauma. It is other people's fear, other people's pain, other people's abuse. But because you've been in that environment, you've learned how to. So, for example, men are trash, for example.
Yes.
Men are trash is what certain women have gone through. So they've gone through some level of pain.
I'd been through that stage where I said all men are trash. And then when I now had to go through the healing and sit back and be like, okay, I wasn't blaming myself because obviously it wasn't all me, but I said, okay, why is this pattern of consistent toxic men? Then I realized my self-esteem was zero, my self-love was zero, I had very broken energy, so I was attracting broken men. And then now when I said, okay, let me heal myself, that language changes. Like, no, all men are not trash. It's the men I settled for that were trash, and the men I chose to that I was attracting at the time that are trash. But all men are not trash. But now I understood that when I was saying that, I was, like you rightfully said, saying that out of the pain I was feeling. Was like lashing that out in just insulting men in general. So I totally agree.
Two things from that. Does anyone here watch Love Island, for example?
I haven't watched the new one, but it's been 2 years since I watched that stuff.
That's like watching someone go through something and then coming out with a conclusion and then walking around with that conclusion saying that men are trash, for example. You watch Love Island. That Love Island is known for all this kind of stuff that people do and just to watch behavior and just entertainment, purely entertainment. Blue Therapy. Same thing. We're watching it. That was a social experiment. But we had personal opinion and feelings about the behavior of people, even though they were acting. We took that personal.
Definitely.
And so when we come out of that, we see other men that have the same behavior, traits of the same behavior, and then we call them all kind of names. In actual fact, I was going to say to you, do you believe it could be possible that in the process of you going through different guys or friends that you've been through, do you think it's possible that a number of them could have been they could have been good people?
As in the guys I was
with? And could it be that even based on the way you see them and the words you were using whilst you see them and your behavior could turn them to be who you want them to be?
That is true when you think about
who you perceive them to be.
Or who I perceive them to be.
So your reaction again in the context of the fear of the unknown or based on trauma, you have experienced a certain kind of person.
Yes.
And so when you see traits
of in another person, immediately you think actually this is
traits also isn't behavior. It could be dressing.
Oh yes.
It could be posture.
Yeah.
It could be the way they look at you.
Yeah.
It could be the way they do things in the room. So it's not really mainly the behavior. It's also activities in a room that you've seen and you're used to. Certain things that people have done to you that you're fixated on.
Yeah.
And so when you see them do that, you are literally projecting your trauma on them.
I was bleeding it onto them.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what you're bleeding on them, they're receiving that as you, but in actual fact, you are also going through something.
Yeah.
And so when they get that from you, they are reacting based on your behavior, and then that behavior makes both of you lose out on the good side of both of you.
Yeah, and that's why I now said, okay, I need to do the work on myself.
Yeah.
So that trauma from the past relationships doesn't go bleeding onto good people.
Yes.
And I now say, oh, you're the same as every other dude. You know, when there's women that have gone through some pain, they're like, you're the same as all those other dudes.
Yes.
And that's something I didn't want to be doing.
Yeah.
Saying you're the same as all those other dudes, when that may not be the case, but our differences and me bleeding my trauma ends up making me come to that wrongful conclusion, and I didn't want to be doing that with the rest of my life. So I eventually was like, okay, let me keep working on myself, and then that's incredible. That's very deep.
Your fear also gives you a language, so it can change the terms that you use when you communicate with people. If you're used to a certain type of pain, or you're used to a certain type of lifestyle, so for example, a person is grown up in an environment where they swear a lot. Or a person that's grown up in an environment where there's always a lot of smacking. Whether sexual, whether just jokingly, whatever, a lot of smacking. You can carry that into a relationship where a person has what we call self-respect. They don't touch people. They have conversation. But because you're used to that kind of lifestyle, even though it wasn't abusive at the time, because it was a culture, it was a way of relationship, toxicity as a way of that relationship. When you come to the next person now, you're trying to practice what you have learned. And so you smack him. No, I was just joking. No, don't touch me.
No, exactly.
Because I don't want that. And then I was just joking in the bedroom, whatever. You just... And then like...
And it becomes a whole bumping of
then,
heads.
and then they walk away from you and you're like, wow, what did I do? In the actual fact, you know, something that you've done that you didn't think was wrong in the first place. And you could, we call it love language.
Yes, love language.
You could call it your love language. And is you doing things in a certain way. And then you're showing love in the way you know it. And the other person is thinking,
that's not my love language.
That's not my love language.
That's not my love language.
And so I don't think love language exists at all, because again,
don't you? I think they do. I think love languages exist, and
what is love
people
language?
tend to ask me if I like all 5 or one, and I say all 5. Words of affirmation is important. Quality time is important. Gifts is an important part for me. Physical touch is very important. As well, affection. That's love languages.
These are behaviors of people. There are people who didn't grow up with physical touch. They show love from afar. There are there are people which I would ask you, all of you here, have you received any kind of verbal love from your parents? Say, well, I love you.
Yes.
Some parents don't do that.
That's true.
Some parents don't say it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you if you have a boyfriend that watches you walk past and smack your bum, that's his love language.
But isn't that what it is though? That is a love language though.
This is what I'm
but
saying.
that might not be somebody else's.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Behavior,
it's
right?
not. It's a behavior. That's why we cannot call it a language, because language is unified people.
But can behavior not be a form of language though?
It's a
language may not always be verbal. It could be action too.
It's a behavior. We have to call a spade a spade. It's a behavior.
Wow.
You cannot change. It's like, people say stuff like, silence is your silence is louder than the voice.
Silence is a killer.
Louder than
silence is a killer. Silence is a killer. Something like that.
Speak louder than words.
Yes,
they do though.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
They say actions.
I don't go by words.
Yeah, they say actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
In actual fact, if a court sends you a document. And
that speaks loud and clear.
Yeah, and it's a document. You're supposed to react to that. If I'm in fear and I don't respond to that, does that make me guilty? No, it doesn't. It's just that my behavior at the time is very different. And so my inability to express or communicate with that court does not necessarily mean I'm guilty. But in court, your silence means you're guilty.
We call it an adverse inference. That's what we call it in courts. This be going into my lawyer mode now.
There you go.
An adverse inference is taken from the silence and used against you as, okay, why were you silent? Why didn't you do this before? And you're doing it in court. Yes, absolutely.
So in actual fact, some people can be afraid, and these are languages. That's why I said to you, it's a behavior, because in fear, people behave differently. Some people scream. Some people are quiet.
Yeah.
Some people show agitation. Some people
talk a lot.
They get defensive. Some people talk a lot.
Yeah.
So different languages. But in court, when you speak more, they see that as confidence. But in actual fact, you're scared, so you're
Yes.
speaking more
fast, yeah.
and talking faster.
Yes.
But that doesn't show that you're confident. The actual confident person
Yeah.
is quiet and there, and they're not asking that person any question at all.
What-
But actually, it's gone.
What if I said in court? Because this is me speaking as a lawyer now.
Yes.
So I've seen it in both criminal courts and in civil courts
Yeah.
and in commercial courts. Talking a lot could be seen as either confident or as a defense mechanism for
Yes.
guilt, or as it could be seen either way.
Yes.
And the jury or the judge or the court could judge it either way.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying it could be seen as confidence. I agree with that, but at times it can also be seen as someone being cocky in
Yeah.
court, or someone
covering
trying
something
to
up.
cover it
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
cover it up
Yeah.
in court. And then someone being quiet, it depends on who's what. Sometimes the jury or even the judge or the court can see it as this person is, we think they're telling the truth, but they
Yeah.
don't know how to express themselves. Or another person can say, we think they're guilty, that's why they're not speaking. So it's really a double-edged sword
It
in
is.
court,
It
actually.
is. It is.
Because it depends on time. In the criminal court, it depends on the jury. In the civil court, it can depend on the judge,
Yeah.
or how your energy
present the
comes
court,
off
yeah,
as well. So it's
If I was to go back
double-edged.
to the question here, this sounds like a person is able to articulate their pain.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
They're
Yes.
able
true.
to
They're very
express
expressive.
it.
Yes.
Shall we read it again?
Yeah, go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? I can't cope with anything. I'm constantly sad and unhappy. I feel uneasy
Yeah.
about everything.
Now,
I'm scared of where my life is heading.
It's heading.
it
So
is,
they-
it is
yeah,
possible for
yeah.
a person to feel all of that and not say anything.
Wow.
Yes, definitely.
This
Yeah,
We
that's
see
very
it.
true. Oh my goodness.
This
yeah.
has been so interesting. I'm gonna say we should continue this conversation in the next episode, because I can already
Absolutely.
see that
Yes.
we have a lot more to share. So let's conclude here for this episode, and we will have our guest speaker in the next one. So thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Gladness Gatega,
My name is Egwana Waritomo.
My name is Veritas, the Inspirational Guru.
and our special guest today.
I'm Billy Pedro.
Thank you so much for tuning into the UYG show, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. It's called amygdala. But I don't want to get into that.
Let's not get into that.
All there
All in the
somewhere.
brain.
That's all the
That's
brain
somewhere.
stuff.
UYG is a community interest company, a social enterprise that helps individuals to release themselves from stagnation to a condition of supreme well-being and good spirits, happiness and abundance. UYG's vision is to support individuals to overcome challenges in life and assist in their self-reflection journey. We strive to see people live in mental wellness, supreme well-being and good spirit. UYG provides services that benefits the community by supporting individuals, families, relations, and couples through their self-discovery journey. UYG's mission is to help individuals heal from hurt, loss, and trauma to receive wholeness. Our work is to transform lives through self-discovery and personal development training. At UYG Social Enterprise, our work is to increase awareness and share insight for solutions to life challenges that often affect individuals' well-being. At UYG Social Enterprise, we need your support to carry out our mission of making a positive impact in the community on matters of mental wellness and spiritual well-being for individuals, children, couples, and families. Thank you for supporting Unleash Yourself with Gladness Community Interest Company. #UYG.